Happy anniversary. We're back to share more about our journey with Inspiranza Designs. And the last time we talked, we were just sharing how things weren't going so well for Inspiranza Designs. So we decided to put our little warehouse for sale and just started to ask God what's next for Inspiranza, because it seemed like the home party plan just was not doing it anymore. Businesses were closing all around. Big businesses were closing. And even the company that came after us ended up selling and to Avon. And that didn't go so well either. So we were just asking God, what is next for Inspirons? Because we know you called us here, but this isn't working.
Yes. And we thought, we started in the basement. We don't need this warehouse. Maybe if we could sell this warehouse, it would help take care of our debt. Because we did have debt. We paid our bills, but we wanted the pressure of the mortgage to go away. We wanted to be able to be finished, because you don't realize, even when you have a business, you have to contract for every little thing. And Diane mentioned earlier, we had a contract with a trash company that they wouldn't let us out, even though we had no trash. There was enough trash for us to take it home to our own our own trash cans. They wouldn't let us out. We still had 2 years that we were required to pay. It's just so interesting, every little part of the business and what it requires. That as I said, we didn't have that kind of background, so it was all new to us, and we learned as we went. But we decided to put the warehouse up for sale, and then we could, as I said, either move to her basement or my basement and just continue on until God gave us a clear vision of what we should do. So, as I said, we prayed, and we really sought the Lord on these things, and we would declare scripture every day. We would stand on the promises, and we would declare scripture as we would just kind of march around our little warehouse. We had one particular rug that I'm surprised it didn't have a path worn in it, because of all the hours and days that we spent in prayer and declaration. But in my Bible time at home, I kept coming back to this one area. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but 2 Kings chapter 4, I kept coming back to that, and it's about the widow who went to the prophet and said, I need some money. I don't know what to do. All I've got is a small jar of olive. And I kept reading that over and over. I said, okay, Lord, what are you trying to tell me? What are you saying here to me? Because I can't seem to go on further into my reading. And I just said, Lord, what's my jar of the olive oil? What's my oil? Understand? And I heard back in my spirit, you've got all that jewelry in the warehouse.
Yeah, it was sell the oil, live on the rest.
Right.
What is my oil? That's all I'm saying. What is my oil?
Yeah, because I'd be happy to sell oil.
Yeah.
Tell me where the oil is so that I can live on the rest. And I heard back the jewelry. And so here I am. I said in the beginning, God said, why don't you start the business? And I was argumentative in the beginning, and I still was. And I said, I don't have any oil. What is oil? And he said, that jewelry. And I said, but Lord, everybody's seen this jewelry. It's been in catalogs, and it's probably 2 years old. And as we're going on, it could be 3 or 4 years old. Nobody wants this. They've already seen it. And then I heard remake it. I said, what do you mean remake it? And at that time, it was really popular with HGTV, all these rehab going on in houses and stuff. So the impression I got was I was supposed to rehab all that jewelry, make it into something else. And so I went to bed that night continuing to argue with the Lord, and I said, I don't know how to remake jewelry. And I probably fell asleep in mid-sentence because I'd just been having this struggle. And while I was sleeping that night, the Lord showed me how to remake jewelry. I woke up the next morning knowing exactly what it is we were supposed to do.
So God is so good. And as he was showing Dawn how to remake the jewelry that we already had, I was taking pictures of jewelry. So we had all this time on our hands because we didn't have very many orders. So we did still have a few, but it was very few. When we did get an order, it was like, we got an order, run into the back, fill it. It's like so much fun. What are we going to do? Fill it. I was taking the pictures, and I was self-taught.
Yeah, self-taught. She didn't take one class because we could no longer afford to pay a photographer to take these pictures. So we bought our own little.
Yes, at the same time, bought our own booze. We were going to take our own pictures because we couldn't afford it anymore. So I was learning how to do that. And then at the same time, Facebook was becoming kind of a thing, and advertising on Facebook was becoming kind of a thing. So I got in there and just started to poke around and figure out Facebook. And I say I got in there, but I believe the same as God showed Dawn how to recreate the jewelry. He was showing me how to photograph the jewelry and how to advertise it on Facebook. And I say that's the home of the Daily Deal was born at that time. And we started it with I Want It deals and auctions. And Dawn would create pieces and she would bring them to me, and I would shoot them in my little photo box and put them out on Facebook. And we can't remember. I don't even remember how people purchased because like they sent it. Yeah, I'm trying to go back. But what they would do is they would, and some of you may remember this, if they found the thing that they wanted, I posted it on Facebook, and then underneath it they would say I want it. And when they said I want it, I would, I think, send them an invoice, and then somehow they would pay for that on PayPal or somehow, I don't remember. But we also had these auction items. If we only had one thing that Dawn could create, then we would make it an auction. And people would say, I want it $10. I want it 15. I want it 20, whatever it was. They would just keep upping the price. And then the top bidder would win that piece that Dawn had created. So that was the auction items. And then we had these Daily Deal items. So Dawn would create them and we would run out. It was like, he'd say, make another. I haven't got it anymore. I was like, get back there. You can find some beads that are close enough or whatever, find another piece. There's a bracelet back there. You can bust up something, go create some more. And so we would have as many as we could, we would make out of the thing that just went like crazy. And then we would have part two. Like, this is the Sea Breeze necklace part two. Or if it was just a little bit different, we would put it a little second edition onto it, and then we would sell that one as well. So that started to take off, and we were actually having fun again. But the thing is we were having fun because things were selling, but we still had so much debt that Dawn would say, I'll let you.
I'd say, Diane, I've done the calculations. I think that if we stay on this track, I think it'll be a year or a year and a half, maybe 2 years, that we'll be out of this.
And I'd say, stop talking. I cannot do this for another 2 years or another year and a half to get out of debt. Stop it. I'm like, it'll be sooner. God's going to get us out of this. We just keep selling jewelry. So that's what we did. We continue to sell these deals, these I Want It Daily Deals and the auction items. And then we were having so much fun that we decided, oh, maybe we don't even want to sell the warehouse. Let's up the price on the warehouse, because if we have to keep it, so what? We're making some money now. We can keep the warehouse. So let's just increase the price a little.
It's so funny. And, in doing that, we started seeing the business grow in a different vein. So the reps were not able to have parties and bring in sales, but we had this other vein that the olive oil created and Facebook sold, that we were able to determine that, what, I think that door for direct sales is closed. And I believe this door where we sell direct to the customer is opened. So that's when we had a new birth for the way we did business. And I want to say 14, do you think it was?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 2014.
Yeah.
So here we started in 2005 and we went one way, but the economy changed that and, little difficulties along the way. So when we were selling direct to customer, we could sell online with a website. There was no need for catalogs anymore. There was no need for the postcards and all the equipment that we had to store. So there was no need really for the warehouse anymore either. So it was just a brand new way of doing business, and we were really enjoying it.
Yeah, and the great thing about not having a catalog any longer was if the silver price changed, it didn't matter. We ended up getting a new website,
Yes.
where customers were able to purchase directly on our website, and we didn't have to do the Facebook like auctions anymore. We were actually just putting the daily deals onto our site. And then something happened with the warehouse that was all gone.
Well, we sold it.
At the increased price.
And they, came to us and wanted to buy it, and we looked at each other like, well, what will we do now?
Yeah.
We were unprepared because we thought by raising the price, we'd sort of close that door for selling it.
Yeah, so we raised the price and sold. We were able to pay off all of our debt with that check that we thought. And I still remember going to the bank with that check. We did it together. We went to lunch together and we were like, can you believe it? After all these years, we are finally out of debt. And we just had decided we're never going to be in debt again. Every month, we're going to pay off everything that we have. And not get ourselves in that position again. But it was so difficult when we had sales reps because you were talking about $20,000 worth of catalogs that I told you we had to throw in the dumpster. But it's hard to have $20,000 at that time all at once. You knew that the sales from next month were going to pay for that. But when the sales from next month dried up, there was no paying for that. So we just learned a lot of hard lessons through that. And I feel like we are so thankful for that time. And I know most people would say, why are you thankful for that time? But
We learned so much. And not only did we learn so much, we really, really, really experienced a deeper level of faith and trust. And that's been pivotal in our journey, just in life in general.
yeah, I remember once my mom called and she said, do you need some money? And we did get a couple of loans from people, but when she said that to me, I was just thinking of the verse where it said, if earthly fathers or earthly parents know how to give good gifts, how much more do I know how to give good gifts? And that rang in my head, and I was like, no, I don't. Thank you, but we're going to be okay. And then I hung up the phone and I was like, Lord, your word says if earthly parents know how to give gifts, so I know you know how to give better gifts. And he did. He did. But we had to learn all of this. And he just did a lot of molding in us and stripping things away that didn't belong.
And although Diane said loans, we never saw it alone. There were a couple people that stepped forward and said, can I put a Band-Aid on this for you for a little while and you'll just pay me back? And it was a huge blessing to be able to receive that during that time so we could pay the light bill
Yeah.
and whatever else was necessary.
And I think it was the help of getting us to pay our credit card down. So we didn't have that interest. So we were able to then just say, oh, okay, great. Now we can start paying things because that interest was hitting us. And it was like, how are we ever going to do this? So anyway, that it was a blessing. All of it was a blessing. I'm so very thankful for all the times that we went through with that. But we just started to pull ourselves out once again. And Inspiranza started to thrive again with a brand new website. Like I said, people could purchase right on our site. Our Facebook was doing really well. Everything was going well. And then we had another thing hit.
But I think we'll save that for our next video. All right. Because there's always more to share. We've had some highs and some lows, and we love that we are here to tell you about them so that you can apply them to your own journeys. There's always faith. Bye bye.